Hi, hello, welcome to another vlog. I think what's gonna happen is this one is just gonna take me through the rest of April, and maybe by the time we get this one up, I will have been caught up. Oh no, it'll probably take me a little bit into May, because May ends on a No, it'll probably be the rest of my April. Well, I'm figuring this out. We'll figure it out. I'm trying to get caught up on vlogs. We'll see where we go from here. Let's talk about what I'm reading. So I picked this up in the last vlog, but I didn't do a lot of reading of it last vlog. So I am reading The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett right now. This is my audiobook. This is one of the books that I picked for Thor's mission log. It fulfills a couple of missions. It definitely fulfills the one about siblings. I don't know if it fulfills any other ones on Thor's mission log. Doesn't matter. Don't care. It's really interesting so far. I am intrigued by the fact that I still have the books from the last vlog up on the table. We don't need those anymore. We're done with those. So it's following two sisters, and they kind of run away from home, and then they end up splitting up at one point because one of the sisters wants to pass as a white woman. They are both Black women. They're very light-skinned because, like, the town they come from had an obsession with being light-skinned. And so it's just really interesting to be reading this and to be kind of seeing how people process at least one of the sisters, because one of the sisters did continue to identify as Black. And so it's interesting to see the reactions to her now that she's kind of come back and she's brought her daughter back, and her daughter is darker than her, and having to deal with the fact that she's in this town where everyone is very light. They kind of look down on the kid because she's got darker skin than they do, and it's just really frustrating, but also you can see the roots of it and why people are reacting this way to this woman, to her child, to the whole situation, why they would have this town where there was such an obsession with being light-skinned. So, anyways, it's really interesting so far. I'm liking it. I like the writing style so far. It's a lot more literary fiction-y than I am used to, but it's not, like, in a bad way. I'm definitely, like, jiving with the style of writing so far. I am there. I barely listened to it. The other books that I am reading this week, I think the main focus is going to be Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. I would like to be through this and Ruin and Rising before I actually end up watching the Shadow and Bone TV show. Will that happen? I don't know. Technically, the vlog that I'm reading this for is supposed to go up on Saturday. I don't think that's happening. I probably won't end up talking a lot about it because there's an entire vlog for it. Also, I am reading Makeup Breakup by Lily Manon. I started this, and then I needed to finish other books, and so I did that. And I have another book that I'm supposed to be reading that I don't know what I've done with it. It's The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. That is our group book for the Avengers Initiative Reading Challenge, and I need to have that finished by next Saturday. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, and it's a chunker, so I probably should get reading that. Hello, I have a sandwich, and I have a book, and I have Sips by, and so we are continuing on with this vlog that is going to be 2 weeks apparently, or till the end of April. I don't know. Don't ask me. It was a weird way for things to end, so that's how we're going with it. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh my gosh, I've got, this needs to get cleared off a little bit because I can't do this. Alright, so I have been reading Once and Future Witches. I am 152 pages in, and hopefully I will be much further than that by the end of tonight. Yay, pickle. Anyways, this is complicated because I'm really enjoying the plot and the characters and a lot of the subject matter that she is tackling. Hold on, I need a water. This book focuses a lot on the women's suffragette movement, and I don't know if it is like fictional Salem or real Salem. Like, sometimes it feels like it's a completely different world, just like kind of maybe similar to our own, and then sometimes maybe it is. Oh man, you can tell I did wash my face today, or I just washed my face. So I like how she is still acknowledging, because the main characters are white because she's white, I like how she is still acknowledging the very real struggle of Black women to be acknowledged by the suffragettes. And the fact that they had to do things differently because the white women didn't want to march with them. Shame on us. However, some of her word choices here are just Like, we talked about her using savage earlier. And now, and I understand that this is the historical term that most people would have used, but she's referring to black people as colored. And I feel like the only time a white person should be using it is when they are specifically referring to labels that they cannot escape using that word for, because there is so much violence. Now, this is just in fiction. I'm not talking about academic. I know in academic work, there's a different standard. I'm talking about everyday, average fiction. I understand that this term is historically accurate, but I think it's lazy writing. It is really interesting considering how hard she writes these books, but I think it is lazy writing because I think there are other contemporary terms or ways she could get around it, not necessarily using it in dialogue. I understand it being used in dialogue by probably the majority of the white characters. However, we are in the head of a white character who I'm pretty sure is going to end up with this black woman. She should be thinking about it differently. Like, when we're in the heads of our characters, I feel like, and in the narration, it should not be being used as casually as I feel it is being used. That is a word of oppression. It is a word of violence. It is a word that was used to further the harms that white people did against black people and other people of color, but like specifically black people. So I personally would not be comfortable using it in the way that it is being used in this book, or with the frequency that it is being used in this book. So that's me. That's where I am. Otherwise, I am enjoying it. I think it's a really interesting plot. I'm liking how she's kind of twisting the fairy tales. And I like the focus on women's power and how powerful women are always called witches, or are often called witches. All right, hello. I had makeup on. I figured I'd come and talk to you before I take the makeup off. Books. We have books to talk about. Yes. All right. I don't know. What other books have I read in this? Where's my phone? Why do I do this every time? Guess where it was? It was right next to me. Couldn't look down. I looked everywhere else. Okay, let me just double check that I have achieved, gotten everything I need. I think I have. This is the end of the vlog. I just stayed up till 1:30 in the morning so I could finish this book before the month was over. My rule is, it is not the next day until I have slept. So if I have not slept, it is not the next day. This week I finished, whenever this is, The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. It is really good. It is, like, not the happiest book. There is a lot of, because it's a historical fiction, and it has to do with the way that African American women and people are treated, and how society just kind of values lightness, how we kind of have have arranged everything, we being white people, so that this complexion is like the most desirable. Well, not mine literally, but like, you know, being white is the most desirable, and we see these women grappling with that because of their specific situations, and who they are. So I liked it. I gave it 4 stars, I think. It had a lot of elements that I really, really liked. I really liked following Desiree and Jude and what's her name's story. I can't remember what her, Kennedy's story. I really enjoyed following their stories. I wanted to smack Stella most of the time, because why would you put your family through that? There are conversations and things brought up in this book that just, it's good to kind of examine and look at and think about. So I'm very happy that I read this. I'm really, like, I cannot fit it on my shelf at, well, actually, no, this is historical fiction, so I actually do have some room on my historical fiction shelf, especially since I'm not putting the next book we're going to talk about on that shelf. It's going goodbye. Actually, no, let's talk about the other, because that was my audiobook, and then I needed to pick up another one, so I picked up Vicious Spirits by Kat Cho. I just read The Wicked Fox recently. I will link the review that I did. I absolutely adored it. I like how Kat Cho uses tropes, how she uses character, how she builds the world around these characters, because even though this is contemporary, it's still, like, you still have to world build when you're doing contemporary fiction. I'm not even talking about the fantasy elements. You still have to world build when you're doing contemporary fiction because you have to transport your reader to that place. So I really enjoy how she is able to create an atmosphere and a feeling in her work. Absolutely adore it. I cannot, like, I'm reading this. I'm not as into this couple as I was the one in the first one, but I have a feeling that that's just because right now they're very, like, at each other's throats. And the guy is being a little pushier than I like, which I've seen in a lot of K-dramas. But, like, I say that like I've watched more than 5. Anyways, I've seen. It is a thing that's a trope. And I like how the main female protagonist is fighting against it, but also I can see how that's kind of going to be a little bit of character growth because the standards are a little bit different. I get. Not necessarily, so, like, I don't know how to explain, like, what is acceptable behavior is slightly or would be slightly different for one of these characters because they've been around a long time. And anyways, that's a long way to say that, like, somebody needs to take a moment to, like, sit back and think about themselves and stop trying to hide their insecurities through bravado and flirting and actually, like, be nice to the girl. He messed up. He messed up big time in the last book. Completely unrelated things. So, like, the fact that they don't like him. Final book. I gave that 4 stars as well. Did I give that 4 stars? Did I even? Oh, I haven't finished it. Why am I saying how many stars I gave it? I also finished this month, The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. So I'm going to give it 5 stars. Alex E. Harrow does a really good job with characters. She does a fantastic job with her prose. However, there are a couple of things that just really bugged me about this. Number one, and Christine, my friend Christine could definitely, like, go into this way more. There's a live show where we go into it a little bit. I'll try and put, like, a timestamp for when we start talking about this book if you're interested in that. Number one, she just doesn't do a good job with the suffrage movement. It's obviously not historically accurate, but this takes place in an alternate world. It's an alternate universe. This is not our universe. But I just, like, it was very white feminist in the fact, or at least with one of the characters, and it frustrated me because we never really confronted the fact that she's this way. We never, like she learns her lesson, I guess you could say, but we never really kind of got into the fact that what she's doing, her motivation is just power. Like, she just wants power. There's no thought, there's no strategy behind a lot of what they are doing. It's just chaos. And that annoys me to a huge extent because they're making things really difficult for, like, everyone in this town. Like, all of the women are being persecuted because of the things the 3 of them, specifically the one sister, is doing. And there's no thought to how they're going to affect other people, and there's no thought to what they are trying to achieve. That really annoyed me. You can't. I'm not talking about situations where you act out in the moment. They're attempting civil disobedience, but they're not doing it with any sort of, like, thought or planning or strategy or any clear goal as to what they are trying to achieve, except we want power and we want to bring witchcraft back. Why? Why do you want to, like give me a good reason for you to root for bringing this back, because all I'm seeing is you causing havoc and scaring people and having no clear end goal in mind or thought about how I'm going to make people's lives better. That's it. There was no real thought into how will this make people's lives better? How will we improve people's lives through what we're doing? It was just action for the sake of action, no thought. The other thing is, I've already discussed, like, the word choice. It does get better as we get towards the end of or not the end, but, like, after we get past that first, I'd say, like, quarter to 1/3, it gets better. And I didn't, like, for the most part, I don't mind that it was mostly focused on white women because the author is white, and I thought she did a good job of acknowledging that there would be other types and cultures for magic outside of the white European lens that the 3 main characters are raised in or know. So I think she did really of touching on that, especially when it came to one of the side characters, because there's more involved in it. It's complicated. I don't want to spoil stuff, but, like, I think she did a good job of touching on that for the most part. without, like, trying to tell that story. There are, like, the women in this book do a lot better job working with black women than the actual suffragists did in the United States. So, like, there's that. But it also still was very much like, because these are 3 white women, everyone, including the characters of color, their stories had to serve the growth of the white characters. And I'm just like, slightly different changes could have been made. Plus the language thing, I just, like, Anyways, so I thought it was okay, I guess. Like, it's not, I honestly, like, everyone in this book could have died and I wouldn't have been sad, and that's not normal for me. Like, normally I'm attached to at least a couple of characters. My involvement did get much more involved when we started getting some romance in there towards the end. But anyways, I just, like, I don't want to say that this is not worth reading. I just think that you need to kind of be aware that the author is trying to do something and she's not doing it particularly well because of her own implicit biases, I guess. There's just, it feels like there's still some stuff that she's like, oh, like, this is historically accurate, so we'll use it, but she's not really looking into why she's okay with using it because it's historically accurate, even though it's historically accurate. Like, you created a world where Salem, Massachusetts was burned to the ground, ma'am. Burned to the ground to excise the witches. You can use different language. Change things up. It, like, just because it was the most common term, I'm guessing is what is her thing, doesn't mean there weren't other terms that you could have used. Guys, those are the books that I've read this thing. Thank you so much for watching. Videos over here, all that whole stuff. Leave me a emoji. Just leave me an emoji at the bottom because I don't have the brain space to think of what emojis are available. Leave me, I don't know what emojis are. Pick an emoji, leave it. If you want to let me know you watched the end of the video. If you're feeling chatty, go ahead and talk to me about these books. That is it for now, my friends. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!